Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Kit Pang, your host for your Boston Speaks Talks, and we are on Boston Speaks Talks number 7, How to Network with Confidence and Grow Your Business 10 Times with Cami Baker. Cami, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome to me. Thanks.
I'm super excited to have you on today. And before we get on to it, let me give you a quick little introduction. So Cami Baker is an international speaker, fiercely entrepreneurial, HGTV House Hunters veteran, and founder of the worldwide NetWeb. Wow, that's amazing already. She has given over 1,000 presentations to audience as large as 30,000. Her keynote, Mingle to Millions, The Art and Science of Building Business Relationships and Mastering Referrals, is also the name of her book. I have one of her books. I just don't have it with me today. She has one of her books, but she doesn't have it with her today as well. But I'm going to say, go on her website, which you can see there's a green button on the bottom of our faces. It says learn more about Cami, and you can learn everything about her just going there. So Cami has worked with companies like Berkshire Hathaway, Ronald McDonald House, Keller Williams, and hundreds of other groups assisting their people in the art and science of building resources, relationships, and revenue that rocks. She has been featured in Success from Home Magazine, on HGTV twice, and a judge on NBC's The Celebrity Apprentice. Well, Cami, that's an impressive bio. I love introducing you. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. I love hearing that read. It makes me think, wow, that's me. I've been doing a lot of stuff. That's cool.
Hey, before we go on, I'm also going to say we are actually live right now too on my page at Boston Speaks. So if any one of you are watching, you can feel free to go share it. So it'll be live double time. Cami's going on live too. Is that right?
I am. I'm videotaping the screen. So.
Yeah. So Cami, again, I'm just going to say, for people that's watching live right now, or for people that's watching the replay, feel free to ask us any questions. You can also watch the replay. The questions will go back on. Or if you are on Facebook watching, right, you can add Cami on Facebook. And I'm going to say, if you are on Facebook right now watching, click the link so you can join us on the Crowdcast. But without further ado, Cami, do you want to say anything before I ask you a bunch of questions?
I just want to acknowledge you, Kit Pang, because I have been watching you grow your meetups, your interviews, all the things that you're doing. And I just want to say, wow, impressive. Way to go, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, it's like me. What I love about hosting so many events is that I get to meet people like yourself. And I think that's just amazing.
Well, might I just say that, one of the things that I teach my clients is to go to events early. 15 minutes early is on time. On time is late. Late is unacceptable. And I went to one of Kit's meetings several months ago, and it was a smaller group. He was just getting started. And then I went to one about 6 weeks ago, and my friend Ron Kuhlman and myself and Coach Nancy, we all got there very early. We helped set up. We helped put flyers on the chairs. We helped do some things around the room. And it was because of that extra quality time that I'm actually on the screen today, because this is how we NetWeb. I like to say networking doesn't work. It wastes time because there's random activity. You show up at an event, you spray your cards everywhere, and you pray somebody calls you. But when you can leverage your time and strategize, you actually get way more results from that. And so getting to events early creates these types of results. So thank you for having that beautiful big event that I was at 6 weeks ago.
Oh, why, thank you. It was amazing having you to help out in the beginning. You all were going live at the same time. I loved it.
Yes.
So you want, touching on that topic. So how do you actually build relationships before you get to an event, like you were saying?
I love that you say that. So the 3 pillars of how I explain networking is you want to set the intention, then pay attention to create the retention. So to set the intention before we go to an event, one of the many ways we can do that is what I call the 3 R's: research, reach out, and relationship build. And I don't know if you remember, but back in October or so, when I went to your first event that I went to, I researched who was leading the event, meaning yourself. I reached out and I sent you an email. And then when I got there, I was able to say hello. Now at that one, we didn't connect as well as we did at this last one because things were going on. But to research, reach out before an event, see who's running the event. In Meetup, you can see along the right-hand side who's going to be there. So to be able to see who's there, and I'm not talking about spending hours or days researching, I'm talking about 30 seconds. Like, who is this person? Reach out, say something nice about their headshot, say something nice about the group's name, say something nice to show them that it's not just a copied and pasted type of thing, that you actually looked at their profile. So now you're reaching out and starting that conversation. A lot of the times, Kit, when I do that type of thing, instead of walking in the room with my hand out, hi, my name's Cami, what do you do? It's more like I got my arms open. It's like, hey, it's nice to finally meet you. And that is one of the ways that when you go to events, especially for people that don't like to network, and let's face it, 97% of people don't. And frankly, people say to me, well, Cami, I'm not extroverted like you. Well, you know what? I'm not extroverted either. And so when we go to an event, instead of showing up with anxiety and dread and, oh my God, it's another one of these networking things, if you've actually reached out to people and you can say, hey, I'm looking to meet Kit. Hey, I'm looking to meet Ron. Hey, where's that guy, John? Now you can make fun, you can make a game of it, have fun with it, and actually look for people that are looking forward to meeting you instead of just showing up cold.
Wow, and you know, that's, Cami, that is so key, because every single time I do a live interview for the Boston Speaks Talks, we always want to try to help people discover the power of communication. And like you said, many people are introverted and they might not want to speak out. So researching in advance can help you be more comfortable with those, you know, with the event itself, with the people that's going there. But I know you talked about what to do. Can you actually, let's say you're going to your next event, what will be going through your mind when you're researching? Like, what are the steps that you will be doing? If you can walk us through your mind.
Well, so when we're setting the intention, think about whatever your intention is for the viewer. So your intention might be to add people to your business. It might be that you're looking for, like me, I might be looking for speaking engagements. It might be that that you're looking for sponsors for your event, whatever your intention is. And so if I'm looking, and I am, so as you know, I have moved from the Boston area to the Northwest. I'm in the Seattle, Tacoma, Portland area. And so as I'm going to events now, I will look and see who's running that event. I want to make friends with the movers and the shakers and the coordinators and the other speakers, et cetera, et cetera. At your event, the last one, 6 weeks ago, all the speakers that were on the stage, I reached out to all the speakers and introduced myself and actually set up a couple of conversations with them to talk with them about their services before I even got to the event. So that's what I do. I look to speak to the top dog in the room. The top dog is the best one to talk to for anybody, because if you're going to go to a networking event, you don't want to talk to the wallflower over in the corner. I mean, we want to be friendly with everyone for sure, but why not go ahead and talk to the person who knows everyone, like Kit? You know, you want to reach out to the people that have it going on. For example, if you're looking along the side in the meetups, and this is a tip for everyone, you're looking along the side of the meetup groups, when you put yourself in meetup as a participant in different events, have a nice headshot, write something nice about yourself, have a presence there. Sometimes I'll go in to click to send somebody a message, and for some reason they're blocked and they can't receive messages. It's like, are you serious? You're a business person and you're blocking yourself from receiving messages? Stop it. I am raw, I am real, I am relatable, and I am reachable. You got to be reachable. Put that cell phone number anywhere and everywhere. So when you are going on Meetup as a participant, have a nice headshot, have something nice. So in other words, when I'm going over there and I'm saying, well, who do I want to reach out to? I'm not going to reach out to the people that don't have a headshot, or the people that, you know, have that little ghosty figure there and don't say anything about themselves. Present, package, posture, the product, which is you, so that you position yourself as the expert in whatever genre you're in, so that people want to meet you when they get there. So it kind of goes both ways. Who are you reaching out to, and how are you presenting yourself so that people may want to reach out to you?
Wow, this is gold. I hope the people that's watching this, or the readers, just have notes down, taking it down right now. How did you get started wanting to get better at networking? Were you always good at it, or is it something that you wanted to hone?
I appreciate you asking that question, because here's the deal. 16, 17 years ago, I like to share my story very quickly because it really helps other people to see that if I can do this, anybody can do it. I had moved from the South to the Northeast. I was totally alone. I went there with my daughter's father. She was 4 months old. I was an alcoholic. I was, I was suicidal. I was depressed. I had a job that I hated. And guys, if I can do this, anybody can do it. There came a point in my life where I decided, look, I got to put down the booze. I got to put down the bad associations. I got to find people. I got to find more people and a better quality of person. And so, I got sober. I started looking for another job. I got a job in real estate, which required me to get out and meet people. And so I was kind of thrown right into the mix, but thank God for that, because I started networking, and I went to networking events at 7 in the morning. At lunchtime, I'd get a babysitter and go at night. I literally went to hundreds of events in a year. When you go to 2, 3, 4 events a day, you hit a lot of meetings. And the thing is I really sucked at it. Now, I want to share this too, because people love this analogy, and Kit, you are a master networker. You're going to relate to this. When I first was going to meetings, I would spray my card everywhere, give everybody a business card, whether I talked to them or not. If I handed out 50 cards, I felt like I networked. I called the spraying and praying people the skunks, because they're spraying everywhere and it's repulsive. They don't take the time to get to know anybody. They just cram that card in people's hands. Another kind of personality that I was too is grabbing cards from everybody. Hey, do you have a card? Hey, do you have a card? Hey, do you have a card? And grabbing cards off all the tables at the trade shows. And that little box that went around the room, I'd grab cards out of the box. And it's what I call squirreling the cards away, because we're grabbing all these cards, but then we're not really doing anything with them. Best case scenario, you're sending them a mass email or putting them on your newsletter, right? And the third kind of person was, I was the shark. Dun, 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 dun. What do you do? Dun, 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 dun. And you can just see the desperation and or just the aggressiveness. And they're trying to smell blood. Who can join my business? Who's going to buy my product? Who can use my service? So if you're being a squirrel, a skunk, or a shark, I've been there. I've done it all. I've done it all in the same time. Imagine somebody walking in a networking event who's spraying and praying and grabbing and sharking all at the same time, right? I did all of that. And so I know, and I see it at every event. I see it at your event. I see it at my event. Every event, those personalities are in the room. And so what happened was I started noticing these. I was going to classes for personality, for NLP, for body language. And little by little, I started noticing what they were doing, what I was doing, what was repulsive to me, what was attractive to me. And I started to mirror and mimic and match that which I wanted to be seen as. And so now the fourth of the S's of the personalities is the spider. And when you think about a spider, what she does is she finds a beautiful corner of a window or a place in a tree and starts making those connections and making those connections. And in the spider's life, it takes about 2 hours to create a beautiful web of connections. And then she can sit back and wait for that which she wants to come to her. Now, if you take that analogy into netwebbing instead of networking, now over maybe a 2-year period, as you're placing those connections here and there, that's what has happened for me and continues to happen for my clients. We create a net web so that what we want naturally comes to us, meaning I get referred. I have wonderful people like you ask me to do interviews like these. I've done 3 interviews this week. It's just so much fun. And it happens because I'm placing the connections. I'm being real. I'm treating people like they want to be treated. I'm bridging the humanity gap. Bridge the humanity gap. Stop chasing people and spraying and praying and grabbing card collecting instead of business building. When we can build that net web, therein lies the yummy goodness.
Wow, Cami, wow, I just love that. And this is what you actually talk about in your book too. I just want to give a little plug for your book, right? What's the name of the book? Tell us a little bit about your book.
Yeah, the name of the book is Mingle to Millions, the Art and Science of Building Business Relationships and Mastering Referrals. And I struggled with the name of that book for a couple of years. And I'm glad that that was like divinely given to me, because it's a little long, but it explains exactly what it is. The art and science of building business relationships and mastering referrals. Let me give you just a little tip on what part of the science is. Imagine, if you will, you walk up to someone and you say, what do you do? 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 That's all people can ever think of. So when I'm talking to someone, I start to exercise my muscle, and I think, okay, how can I create a conversation that's different, that snaps them back into reality, that has them get present with me? So when I walk up and I say, hey, tell me something about you that has nothing to do with your work or where you're from. Here's what happens science-wise. They first of all, they stop and they look up and around, because now they're pondering. Now, instead of the what do you do question, they've been snapped into reality. They're expecting the what do you do and just being glazed over. Now I'm asking them something where they actually have to think and ponder. So they stop, they think, and then they get a little grin on their face and they say, well, I'm writing a book, or I'm remodeling an antique car, or, well, I'm helping my kids with their science project. Like whatever it is that they come up with, they just thought, they stopped, they got present, they thought about it, and now, because it's something they want to talk about besides their boring job, now they had a little rush of dopamine, of serotonin, they got just a little bit of the feel-good yummies, and guess who created that for them? I did. Now, consciously, they're not thinking, wow, Cami Baker just gave me a rush of serotonin, and I feel really good about her. But subconsciously, they're relaxed. You can see them go, oh, well, I'm writing a book. And that is a beautiful way to help create that masterful, meaningful, memorable conversation, which can lead to much better follow-up as opposed to just the blanket email. So that's one of the things about the science of creating these relationships. So that's part of the name of the book. And in the book, I talk a lot about, cleaning up the wreckage of the past. Everybody's got that stack of business cards. And for those of us who are green now and they say, well, Cami, I don't take business cards. I just put them in my phone and I just, Facebook them and all that. Okay. Stop taking cards and or contact information unless you plan on having the intention of following up within a week. So they call it contact information because you're supposed to contact them. Imagine that.
And that's funny. That's right.
Right? I know. I thought of that. I'm like, damn, that's good. So if we've got a stack of cards or 100 people or 1,000 people in our Facebook, in our LinkedIn, that we've taken all this information and haven't reached out, I talk about cleaning up the wreckage of the past. Cleaning up the wreckage of the past is one of the chapters in the book. And then moving forward, we do this. And we have to do this together, Kit. Put your hand on your heart. I state your name.
I, Kit,
solemnly swear I will never ask for a business card or contact information.
I will never ask for a business card or contact information
unless I have full intention of following up.
Only if I have intention of following up.
And I do it within a week.
And I do. Yeah.
You didn't even finish your comment there. It's funny. People say, and you do it within a week. So people laugh when I give that creed, but here's the deal. When you're at these events, if you're grabbing cards and they're stacking up on your desk, they're not doing you any good anyway. So what I do when I go to an event is I focus on 3. Even at this level of networking all the time, having been to literally thousands of events, tens of thousands of cards and people, when I go to an event like yours, I got your card. Well, I already had your card, I already had your information. But you had 2 sponsors at your event that brought coffee and breakfast. I got their cards because look, we're looking for resources, relationships, and revenue. Period. Impact, income, influence. Period. We're all looking for that. So the cards of those people who can create those resources for me and provide some services at my events, that's what I was looking for, right? So 3 or 4 cards and I'm golden. I don't need 15 cards of people that I don't remember, that don't remember me, and that I struggle with how to follow up. I don't want to do that. I want 3 or 4 cards so that when I call them, they're like, oh, hey. There's a big difference in, oh, hey, Cami, versus, oh, hey, Cami. Right? I don't want the latter.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to talk to you too, because I think you're a great networker with everything that you do, researching before, contacting people, the vibe that you have. Not a lot of people are doing things that you're doing, and that just stands out a lot. I just want to tell you that.
Well, I appreciate that, especially coming from someone like yourself who is a fabulous networker, and I don't give that compliment lightly.
Oh, thank you. Well, do you miss Boston?
You know, I haven't been gone long enough to miss it. I do miss a lot of my friends there, and I do miss that you and I won't be putting on a physical event together. However, you know what? Here's the thing. I had put together a list of a couple of hundred. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you bring that up. I put together a list of a couple of hundred different groups in the Boston area and surrounding, in about a 100-mile radius, that I was reaching out to get speaking gigs. And I actually have that list for anyone who is wanting to get more speaking gigs in the Boston area. And so I missed that I created that list, and I had people lining up that wanted me to speak. And then I had to start letting them know, sorry, I've moved away. But I'm doing the same thing again in Seattle and Portland. And frankly, I can create that list anywhere. LA, Dallas, Atlanta, Fort Worth, wherever the hell you're at, and you want to have speaking gigs, reach out to me and I can help you to create that list and get on stages, because that's one of the things I love to teach my clients. If you are a speaker, I'll help you get speaking engagements. If you're not a speaker, but you want to leverage your time, you want to, and because you help people speak, you want to create credibility, you want to attract people to come to you, all that kind of stuff, and you want to be seen as the authority in your industry, you need to be on stages speaking. You need people to see you in the light of the expert, and that's one of the things that I help people do too.
And no, that's right. Cami, I have so many questions for you. Earlier on, when you were, I'm like, yeah, I got a question. I had to stop myself from asking you questions. You also wanted to talk about ditch the pitch, the 30-second elevator pitch. You say is dead. Because earlier on, when you were asking these questions, I wanted to also ask you, do you have any good, I'm going to say, opening lines to break the ice? But what do you mean by that 30-second elevator pitch is dead?
Well, here's the thing. There are 4 distinct personality types: driver, analytical, amiable, and expressive. You might look it up and it says dolphin, shark, whale, and urchin, red, blue, green, yellow, whatever, right? But there's 4 personality styles. And for us to think that there is one tailored 30-second pitch that anyone and everyone is going to hear exactly the same and resonate is ludicrous. Whoever thought that, it's ludicrous. I was taught to have a 30-second elevator pitch. I've practiced a pitch. I've helped people practice a pitch, all that kind of stuff. Here's the thing. The pitch is dead because when you have one pitch for everyone, one size does not fit all. A size 48 pair of pants does not fit everyone. So my whole philosophy on it is exercise your muscle, exercise your brain. Are there times when I need to ask somebody, hey, what do you do? And that I need to have a quick 15-second, here's what I do, here's my card because I got to hit the road? Of course there is. What I'm suggesting and what I'm challenging and what I'm offering is use your muscle, be bold, be creative, create conversation that gets that person talking. Like when I say, tell me something about you that has nothing to do with your work or where you're from. Or when I say, hey, what are you working on right now? Look, people love to talk about themselves. Let them, help them, encourage them to talk about themselves. When somebody asks me, what do you do, Cami? Well, I'm an entrepreneur and a philanthropist. I'd really love to hear about you. Tell me about you. Because at the end of the day, I need to hear about them, because once I know who they are, what's important to them, et cetera, now I can tailor my pitch so that it resonates and lands on them. In other words, my 30-second pitch could say, I work with entrepreneurs, coaches, and small business people, just as a beginning example. Whoever I'm talking to, when I find out that they are a coach, well, I don't need to say entrepreneur, small business owner. I need to stick with who I work with are coaches who, blah, blah, blah. So in other words, it's a matter of understanding who my audience is before I start just verbally vomiting all over them. Here's my analogy with this kid. Pavlov's dog. Ding, 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 the bell rings, dog salivates, dog salivates. They are conditioned that that's what they do. That's what that whole scenario is about. So take it into networking. Walk into networking event, ding, ding, ding. The salivating is, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? People are just salivating, what do you do? Because they don't know what else to do. They've been conditioned to say that. Or it could be that the bell is, what do you do to someone? And the salivating is, here's my 30 seconds. Well, I'm so glad you asked. Here's what I do, blah, 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 blah. And they just salivate. What I'm suggesting is stop being the dog. Stop salivating all over everyone because you are conditioned and don't know any better. Start being conscious of where you are, who you're talking to, be present. So when we set the intention, now we want to pay attention at the event. Pay attention. Stop just throwing out, what do you do? Think about it. Be more creative. Even if it's something like, hey, have you been to this group before? What other networking events do you know about in the area that I might like? Something. What's your favorite book? Hey, who is the most successful person in this room? And can you introduce me to them? Something different just to create that conversation. And there's a big difference in somebody saying, so what do you do? Versus talking, building some relationship. And now they say, so what is it you do anyway? Ah, much different question. Yes.
Wow, Kim, I love I just love everything that you're saying with all the names to the bad kind of networkers. You're so creative. You know what it is? I think sometimes people are just lazy. They just want to go to a networking event. They don't know why they're going, and they're just going without a purpose, just to go. Because, it could be a waste of time too if you go to 100 networking events and you're going in blindly every single time. That's one of the things that I've learned is, like you're saying, know why you're going to a networking event. Do you know why you're going? Do you have a purpose? And actually, I wanted to ask you, do you have anything that irks you that people do at networking events?
Yes. All of what I just said. Look, every event I go to, I just did an interview yesterday with someone. And he said, he's in Boston, and he said, have you been to our group? And I said, friend, I haven't been to your group, but I've been to your group. I've been to your group 1,000 times. The same people are in there. There is the guy that is, here's my card, here's my card, here's my card. Barely make eye contact and they walk off, right? There's the people, hey, can I have your card? Can I have your card? Can I have your card? And see, because this is my expertise and because I go to so many events, you got to have fun with it. So some people, they'll hand me their card and I'll say, so what did you want me to do with that? And here's what's funny, Kit. People will say, well, I don't know, call me, do business. Like they don't even know what they want you to do with it, Or they'll say, can I have your card? Can I have your card? And I'll say, well, hold on. Let's talk for a minute. Let's see if there's even a reason for you to have my card, So I'll play with people about that. And my biggest pet peeve is the fingernails on the board for me is, so what do you do? Because we hear it over and over and over. And sometimes I'll say, well, what I do is I help people to be more original and stop saying, what do you do? And create conversation that's actually interesting.
Hey, that's great.
Now, I say that when I'm feeling sassy and frisky, but that's not really the best way to build rapport sometimes. But those are some of my pet peeves because I know that they just don't know any better. You mentioned that they're lazy and yeah, people in general can be lazy, but the fact is they're just ignorant. And I don't say ignorant is a bad thing. Listen, I'm ignorant about flying a plane. I'm ignorant about doing brain surgery. I'm ignorant about fixing a computer. It doesn't mean I'm stupid or a bad person. It just means I don't know what I don't know. And so we aren't taught in school how to do this. We're taught reading, writing, and arithmetic. And frankly, they're teaching us stuff in school that we're never, ever, 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 ever going to use. They don't teach us people skills. They don't teach us how to create conversation. And here's the funny thing. People can create conversation. You have friends, you have relationships, you have family that picking up the phone and talking to them ain't nothing but a thing. You just pick up the phone and you just start talking. But all of a sudden you put people in a business situation and now they feel icky and weird and they get all tongue tied. And what do you do? Like they just, they feel like there's ulterior motives or I had a guy on Facebook about 1.5 years ago. I put out a question. I said, If you could ask a networking expert any question about networking, what would it be? And this is the question this guy gave me, and I'll never forget it. And it's perfectly the mindset of so many people. His response back was, here's my question. How long must I endure small talk of someone else before I can say what I came there to say?
Wow.
Now that's strong language. And that was an honest question from someone who said what other people are thinking. How long do I have to listen to this person ramble on before I can give them my 30-second pitch and get a contract signed or sign them up for my business, et cetera, et cetera? That's a mindset that so many people have. So let's put all that to the side. Let's stop networking with random activity, and let's be present. Let's posture ourselves, and let's have planned strategy and create a NetWeb, starting with stopping looking at people as leads, as targets, that type of negative language, and just bridge the humanity gap with some fun conversation. Because ultimately, people are going to do business with people that they like, trust, and respect, and they don't like, trust, and respect somebody whose energy and juju is just oozing. When are you going to shut your mouth so I can tell you what I came to say?
That's key. Love everything that you're saying. You were talking about, what we can do before the event. You're talking about what we can do to build a relationship during the event. Let's talk about the follow-up, because this is so key too. So if you don't follow up, if you were not there, what's your thoughts on following up?
Nice. Thank you for asking. So 3 pillars: intention, attention, retention. Retention is what you're talking about, but remember, everyone, it's the foundation. So here's the beauty of the research, reach out, relationship build. If I've reached out to someone and built the relationship, by the time I get to the event, instead of hi, my name is, it's a big hug. Hey, it's so nice to finally meet you. So now the follow-up and the retention is a natural progression. It's easy. Now we're following up because we're smoothly sailing right into collaboration, my friend. There is no weird, hey, do you want to have coffee? It's, hey, look, send me an email with that person's email that you were talking about, da, 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 da. Like, we're already moving straight into collaboration. So, but to get back to the basics of how people can follow up, I'm a huge proponent of focus on the few, as opposed to grabbing all those damn cards that you're never going to follow up with. So when we focus on the few, when we've had an intentional, meaningful conversation, now, one of the reasons people don't follow up, from my experience, and I've coached hundreds of people personally and thousands from stages and things like what we're doing right now. One of the reasons people don't follow up is they have that big stack of cards. They have so many, they start looking through them and they think, I don't remember that person. Oh shit, I don't like him at all. Oh, her, well, I'll call her tomorrow. Like they start to pick and choose because they're overwhelmed. So if you focus on 3, 4, 5 tops, and you've made notes on the card or notes to yourself, now you can say, oh yeah, I need to call him about that. Oh, her, yeah, I need to send her that website for that thing we were talking about. Or he needs to know about that other upcoming networking event. Or I got to refer him to her because I know what they need. Like, in other words, you can make it exciting when you focus on the few and actually know what you're wanting to follow up about. When you follow up with something of value, when I follow up with somebody, it is usually not just, hey, it was nice to meet you at the event. Sure do hope I see you around. Let's do some business. It's more like, hey, here's a link to that upcoming event that I was telling you about. Value. Hey, here's the address of that sushi restaurant that we were talking about that I told you they have 30% off on Tuesdays. Maybe we can meet there sometime. I'd love to have dinner with you. Or, hey, here's that person, Kit, that I know would really benefit from your workshop. I just want to introduce the 2 of you. And by the way, there is a science to introducing people. When people say to me, oh, Cami, I met this guy, Bob. Bob's going to go to your website. He's going to call you. I always say, that's so sweet. That's sweet. Bob ain't never going to call me. Here's how you introduce somebody. You send Bob and Cami an email. Hey, Cami, meet Bob. Bob, meet Cami. Bob is one of the best mortgage brokers I've ever known. He's been in business for 25 years. He takes care of people. He is awesome. Bob, this is Cami. Cami is a public speaker. She teaches networking. She rocks the house. She has a book that just came out. Man, if you need somebody to come in and teach your people how to network, it's Cami. You guys contact one another. I look forward to hearing great things, and give both of those people a chance to reach out to one another. Because I promise you, I'm going to reach out to Bob. But that's how we do it. So those are ways of following up that show value, and law of reciprocity steps in. Law of reciprocity says, when I do something for you, you naturally want to reciprocate and do something for me. So when I introduce Kit to Bill, because they got some kind of synergy going on, those folks naturally say, hey, Cami did something for me. Wow, I want to do something for her. And before you know it, I'm getting an email that says, hey, by the way, Cami, I think you should meet Mary. So these are just some different ways of following up that actually get results. Because like you just said, when we go to networking events and we don't follow up, we weren't there. You might as well have just stayed home in your PJs and played on Facebook. And by the way, I got a ton of ways that you can network on Facebook. I have a program right now called 30 highly qualified leads in 30 days in as little as 30 minutes a day, which includes doing lots of networking and ways on social media. So there are ways to do that too. I'll just throw that in.
Wow. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So one of the ways that we can attract 30 highly qualified leads in 30 days in as little as 30 minutes a day is with Facebook Messenger. So on Facebook Messenger, we can send an audio and we can send a video. And people don't even know that that exists. Look, a year and a half ago, a friend of mine, John Melton, who is, I knew him in network marketing, and he is a phenomenal networker. When he does a Facebook Live, there's 6,000 or 8,000 people watching. Like, he knows what he's doing, right? So he sends me about a year and a half ago, I reached out to him, and I got a voice message back from John Melton. Hey, Cami, haven't talked to you in so long. It'd be my honor to get on and do an interview with you, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh my God, John sent me a personal message. That's so cool, because I didn't even know that it was possible. So there's the voice messages that we can send to people. And then there's the quick video message. And the great thing about the video messages, it's only 15 seconds. So in 15, you can bang, 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 bang through a bunch of these videos very quickly. I'll give you an example. Right before I started this program, I put my money where my mouth is. I had 30 minutes before a webinar was starting. So I go through my Facebook Messenger and I start sending these videos for half an hour, 15 seconds, 15 seconds. It could be somebody that I knew. It could be somebody that had just friended me. If they just friended, it's more of a voice message because it's 60 seconds. You need to have a little bit more time. But in that 30 minutes, I sent out 30 videos or voicemails, and I booked 2 strategy sessions for one-on-one clients. I booked a speaking engagement, and I booked an interview on a podcast with a woman who's interviewed John Gray from Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. So in that 30 minutes, I booked all of that. So when I say 30 highly qualified leads in as little as 30 minutes a day, in that 30 minutes, that podcast and that live speaking engagement put me in front of more than 30 highly qualified leads. But it's just an example of what you can do when you're using not just typing, hey, would you like to do that interview? I've got time on Wednesday. But when we're using our voice, so typing is good, voice is better, using all of this is best. Send that video. When I send a video message, people will respond. Oh my, they might even send a video message back. Oh my God, I didn't even know I could do this. That's so cool, Cami. Yes, I'd love to get on the phone. They will take action because I took action. Law of reciprocity. I took action. They feel almost obligated to take action back. Not every one of them, but more than if I just typed it out.
Wow, I'm just going to say everyone should visit your website, learn more about Cami. There's a green button below our faces if you're watching on the Cloudcast. So Cami, I want to ask you maybe 2 last questions. Do you remember a time where you just discovered the power of communication or networking? Like you just felt it, like this is
wow, this is what you want to do. Do you remember any moments like that? Like,
You know what? I want to share really quickly a story about something that happened to me at an event that made a lot of this come to fruition to me. I was doing some work for the Ronald McDonald House. I was in New Jersey, and we were having a fundraising event, Ronald McDonald House, at the Ferrari dealership on a Sunday. There were a couple hundred people there, a couple hundred Ferraris, the most beautiful Ferraris you've ever seen. It was right outside of New York City. So having this big banquet on a Sunday morning, and across the room, I can see a table with 3 of the most beautiful, statuesque, well-dressed, gorgeous women you've ever seen. Now, as a networker, as a body language expert, as a person who coaches people that you can talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime, I'm always looking at what's going on, and I see these beautiful women. Now, the majority of the people driving these Ferraris were men, whether they were with their wives or whether they were single or whatever. There was a lot of men in there, very well-to-do, driving these cars, high-powered careers, etc. In other words, lots of ego, lots of feeling good about themselves. And I noticed all these beautiful women standing there, and nobody was going over and talking to them. And I thought that was interesting. In other words, anybody and everybody, no matter who you think they are, is worried about, am I good enough? Will I be rejected? What will they think? What will the rest of the room think if I walk over and talk to that person and they're watching me? I don't want to be, I don't want to look foolish, etc. So that's why people weren't going over there. I could see that. So I'm thinking to myself, I can never look my clients in the face again if I don't go over there and talk to those women, because I say you can talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime. So I start walking across the room. And as I'm walking across the room, they're talking. They notice that I'm coming across the room, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to say? Like, I don't even know what I'm going to say when I get over there, but by God, I'm going over and talking to them, because this is what I do and this is what I preach. So I walk over there, I get to the table. By now they're all looking at me like, who is this little blonde woman coming over here? And I say to them, girls, this is the nicest table of shoes I have ever seen. Damn, those are some nice shoes you got on. And the ice was broken instantly. They went from, who is this, to, oh, thank you, we got him here, and da 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 da. So once I broke the ice, we started talking and chit-chatting and having girl talk for 10-15 minutes. Come to find out, they were models that worked for this magazine, who did all the advertising for the Ferrari dealership and the Rolex and the da-da-da, and they were there because they're supposed to be promoting the magazine, etc. And they, too, were bored, didn't want to talk to people, didn't know what to say. They were there because they had to be there. They were hanging out together. Another tip, don't go to networking events with your best buddies, because you end up talking to them. Go by yourself, so you're forced to go out and talk to people. So here's a couple of the lessons I learned from that kit. Number one, no matter how highfalutin or high up the food chain or how successful people look to you, they are human beings. They put their pants on one leg at a time. They are insecure about being rejected or looking bad too. When you go over and talk to them, they are grateful that you talk to them. Number one, right? Number two, ladies, if you want to break the ice, no matter how successful that woman looks, no matter how well dressed somebody is, give them a compliment. You give somebody an honest to God compliment, you break the ice instantly, right? And here's something really, really juicy that came out of this. After I went and talked to those women, you are by association people see you by who you associate with. When I walked over and talked to those women that people had been watching and didn't have the gumption or the nerve or the balls to go over and talk to, when I went over and talked to them, I was seen and received by the whole room in a total different light. I could see it. I could see their body language change. I could see them, they would, hey, like they were accepting me to come over to the table, because they didn't know if I knew those women forever. They didn't know if they were my best friends. They don't know. They didn't hear the conversation. They just saw me go over and talk for 10 minutes. So now I was invited into conversations because my association with them elevated my association in that room. So here's a great tip. Go over and talk to Kit. Go over and talk to Cami Baker. Go over and talk to whoever's leading the group, speaking, whoever the top dog is in that room. Go over and talk to them, because the rest of the room is watching you. And when they see you talking to Kit, they automatically assume that you are at his level or above, because why else would you be talking to somebody that's the mover and shaker in the room? So that, my love, was a earth-shattering moment for me. And so I learned so much from that one action. And I also learned, practice what you preach, because when you practice what you preach, you step into who you say you are, and the heavens open up.
Wow, that's a great story. You know what? I want to give you a high five. Give me a high five.
Woo!
No, you gotta go to the side of the screen. It's the side of the other side. The other side. Hey, so Cami, before we end, what's next for you, or how can people learn more about you?
Oh boy, I tell you, what's next for me is building my tribe here in the Northwest area. So if you know, who do you know? Not who, not if, and not do you. Who? Big change in language. Who do you know in the Northeast or on the West Coast that I can speak to? That I mean, I can do these kind of videos anywhere around the country, but this is where I'm building my tribe. And I'm also, like I said, putting together that list. In any town USA, you want to be seen as an expert, you want to start getting on stages and being taken seriously and building credibility, get on stages. And if you want to do that, reach out to me. I can help you get a list. So I can provide a list of 200 plus groups in any town that you can reach out to and get booked. If you can get booked 2 to 4 times a month and you already know how to do that, then contact me and I can talk to you about how to get the list. If you're not getting booked 2 to 4 times a month, the list ain't going to do you no good, because getting the list is not going to help if you don't know how to posture and package and present yourself in such a way that they perceive you as the expert. If that's the case, then we can talk about doing some coaching on how to create your speaker packet and how to posture yourself so that people are not, so that you're not begging to get on stages, but so that you are being asked to get on people's stage. I have a woman that I talked to recently, and she said, Cami, co-working spaces don't allow me to get on their stage. They want me to pay for the room. And she had all this negative connotation and language behind it. And I said, you know, it's really interesting you say that, because I've been to 8 co-working spaces in Boston, in Miami, in Boca Raton, and in San Diego in the last 6 months. And they all welcome me. They all roll out the red carpet. They are all wanting to have these kinds of events because it brings business to them. Just like with you, my friend, in the Boston area and the different co-working spaces you do it in. So our mindset is people need and want what we have. Other people's mindset is they're going to do me a favor by letting me come in and speak. I help people get past that mindset and get on with the business of being the expert and building their credibility.
And that's key too. A lot of people, they have this sense, well, maybe because maybe they haven't done it before, but they should definitely come learn from you. That's my key point of the day. Learn from Cami Baker. So Cami, I just want to say thank you for coming on today. And when you come back to Boston, drop me a note. We can all have lunch and everything. Really, the next time you come back, I don't know when that will be.
Absolutely. And Kit, you are on my list for people to get speaking gigs and to do these interviews and things like that. So my tribe will be reaching out to you. And might I also say, friends, that Kit does his own workshops around speaking, and his whole forte is way different than mine. I'll help you get booked, but I'm not going to help as much with the language and what to say on the stage. I mean, I'll help with that too, but we have to niche down. We can't be everything to everyone, or we're no one to no one. So I also encourage folks to reach out to Kit to get his expertise. Between the two of us, we'll help you rock the stages, make tons of money, and even better, make a big difference.
Yep, and have fun doing it too.
Have fun! Yay!
So Cami, thank you once again for coming on. For the people that's watching the replay, go to camibaker.com. I also put a bunch of links on the side of the chat, or you can click the green button. But Cami, I just want to say thank you. I'm going to wave goodbye. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.